Welcome everybody to Bauer's House podcast, the second episode, and I am here with none other than my other best friend, John Moric. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's going on, man? I
Thank
just want to say one thing. I think that the shirt and the hat, beautiful, to be honest.
And this was all impromptu. This was all like spur of the moment. You said you can do the podcast tonight, so I'm
Yeah,
like, let me throw on this shirt, let me throw on this hat. So it's perfect. And I didn't
it
put on the
is.
hat just because, we're Rangers fans, but, it was just what was lying around and it's perfect for the situation. So,
It is. I think it fits well because this is a video game podcast, correct? So the
yeah.
shirt, it's perfect. And I love that. I used to love that game when I was a kid too.
Really? So you played Duck Hunt?
Absolutely, dude. I'm yeah, like I am around your age, sort of. Like, well, I'm like pushing 40 now, so that was like the first generation for me. Uh, the first whatever. Actually, it's the first game I probably ever played, which is
Wow.
weird.
You actually already answered one of my questions because I always like to ask people, like, what's the first game that you remember playing?
Uh-huh. I would say that it was either Duck Hunt or the first Super Mario because they came like together in the same cartridge for Nintendo.
Yeah,
NES.
that was
It
so
came like
cool
the
how they had
same.
that.
Yeah, it had to be one of the only games where they did that, where like they put like two games onto one cartridge. And considering back then, like a kilobyte was like a terabyte to for back then,
It's
right?
true.
So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like so it's like putting two games on a cartridge like that is like almost revolutionary, if you will.
Did you get that like for like a special occasion? Like was it like a Christmas present or something?
It was it's like a short story, I guess. How did it go, if I remember? I think I was um like 5 or 6 years old, and I think my dad was coming home from work, and for some reason in my house nobody was home. Like my mom, my sisters are all gone. Well, two of my sisters at the time, because my other sister wasn't born yet. So like either they were sleeping or they weren't home. I don't remember. But anyways, my dad just came home one day after work, and he just had the Nintendo uh big ass box in his hand with with that game inside it. I guess it came with it, I guess. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, it did.
Yeah.
And he just came with it. He's like, "Oh, let's play." We had the gun and everything for the duck hunt, you know. And yeah, me and him just started playing duck hunt in that little ass room on this TV. It was like an RCA, I think, from like 1989 or 90 or something. And me and him were just having fun, just playing duck hunt, shooting at the screen. I would go really close to the screen and just, kill all the ducks easily like that.
That
It was
controller
fun.
worked surprisingly well for like a early video game peripheral.
It did.
Like
It was like
you'd think
so
like it would be
clunky and
such a
huge.
fail. Like
Yeah. No, no, but it did its job. I think they did good. Nintendo was great. I mean, they are great now. Like they're doing great with the Switch and everything. So, but even back then, they were like the PlayStation of today or Xbox.
do you remember having like any other notable NES games during that time?
Oh, any you call it NES? Okay,
Oh
my
yeah.
bad.
What it's two different types of people. There's the NES and the NES people.
Yeah, I call it NES, I guess. But any wait, you asked if I had any other games on that?
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, okay. Let's see if I remember anything else. I remember for some reason, I don't know why Battletoads is jumping at me right now.
Oh, so good.
Or was that SNES?
That was SNES, but if you did own it for, um, well, here's another different types of people is SNES. People call it SNES or SNES.
Super,
I
yeah, Super
I
Nintendo,
always
yeah.
called it SNES, but yeah. So,
Me too.
anyways, so you did own Battletoads for SNES, right?
I believe yes, I did. I remember playing that game. I mean, I think at that time when I was younger, I think I lost that game somewhere, or my
Oh, really?
cousin, yeah, did something to it. I don't know,
Did
but
you lent it to your
yeah.
cousin or something and then never saw it again?
No, 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 no. You know how it used to be? Like, my cousin used to come over like almost all the time after every school day, I guess,
Yeah.
and he used to get out of school first, and he used to come home and he used to like just play on my games, like. And I remember, like, I don't know why, but that used to kind of piss me off, I guess. But yeah, he used to come over and just start playing my games. I remember I had Home Alone too. Yeah, he used to play those games and shit. And I don't know why I got like upset with it, but yeah. So the one time I was like, I know he's coming over today, so I brought my controllers to school in my book bag, and I just had them there, just so and then by the time I got home, just so he couldn't play, I was like, haha, I gotcha. And he ran to me right away. He was like, where are the controllers? You know? It was like a little fucking, what do you call it? Like a little jab at him, I guess. I was kind of an asshole when I was a kid.
I mean, you being angry with him, like playing your games and stuff, is like a pretty normal reaction. I feel like anybody who was a kid back in the day was like protective of their
Yeah.
stuff and their games in general. Like, I know I was that way. Like, if anyone came over was just like had like sticky ass fingers from drinking soda and would touch my controller, I'd be like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Hated that. Such a pet peeve.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like, I don't. Yeah, that is true because they don't wash their hands, let's say, or whatever. They just come in, they just make themselves at home and just, yeah, this is mine until he gets here, that type of thing.
It's funny. It's hitting me right now how pissed I was when my brothers and I decided to trade in so many of our retro games. We traded in like a bucket full of like our N64 games, our SNES games, all that stuff, all to trade in just to get um like a discount for the next system.
Yeah.
But if we held on to those, the value
Oh,
of them,
oh, yeah.
even used, like I'm talking
I
like
was gonna
not even
say,
in the
yeah.
box. Like the example I love using is the game Conker's Bad Fur Day for N64. That one, just the cartridge alone, is like $80 off eBay,
Really?
which isn't
You?
like a fortune, but I mean, for a game of that time, that's still a decent amount.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you sorry. Used games are actually like, what do you call it? They do lose value, evidently, So it's like, so it's tough, like when you buy a game, and if you're trying to be a collector one day, let's just say, then you got to leave that shit in the box if you want to like get some value out of that, or like if you want to like leave it to your grandkids one day, So like, but still, but nobody does that. Like us gamers, like we don't do that. We're not gonna buy a game and then leave it in the box, Like we're not
Right.
gonna do that. Like we're
We're
gonna be
not
like, oh
just
shit,
gonna
I can't wait to
stare at
play
it.
this. Yeah, yeah. You're like, I'm gonna leave it on this shelf for 40 years, and I'm 7 years old. I'm gonna leave it on this shelf for no,
Yeah,
you know how it
especially
is.
when you're a kid, because all you want
Yeah,
to do is just play the damn game, and you know you just want to freaking open it up. And that was the other thing, was enjoying opening games. You know what I mean? It's like
yeah,
um, versus now you're just downloading it, and
yeah.
there
Of
goes the
course.
fun of opening it. You know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that sucks if you think about it. Now everything's just downloading, and like my PC now, like it doesn't even have a slot for a CD-ROM or the other thing that I used to play on, the fucking floppy disks. Like
Oh
it
my
doesn't even
gosh.
have a slot for that anymore. Like none of these things do. Even the new PlayStations and the Xboxes, like they don't have anything. Everything is digital now, which is, fine. I mean, like that's with the times, but like if you want to get nostalgic, like that was our thing.
Oh man, yeah. Like I remember having the shittiest computer as a kid, but being on it all the time and like playing games on floppy disks that I don't even know how I would get them. I think like my dad would just like be like, here you go, here's like this, and it was like Super Munchers. I don't know if you're familiar with that game.
What is that?
It's like this old school educational PC game. Like it came out during the 90s, I want to say. And you would just like click. It was like a point and click type of thing. Um, but yeah, you can Google it afterwards just to see. But I used to play like all those point and click games like Putt Putt and like Fatty Bear's Birthday Adventure, all these like freaking obscure PC games before I even delved deep into like console gaming and stuff.
Yeah, I had an obscene thought when you said Super Munchers for a second, but we could move on.
We don't have to expand on that. That could be for another podcast.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, like I was gonna say, like, no, like if you remember, like back on the, back with the floppy disk days, like how it was to like install games, like it would be like if it was Doom, like the original Doom. I remember having that. It was like 8 fucking floppy disks or some shit, and like you would have to like put it in, and then DOS would tell you to take it out and then put the next one in, and oh man.
Yeah, because my computer knowledge at the time was really basic. Like I used to have to call like friends or like friends of my dad to help me install certain games because like it would say like you need this shader to install the game. And I didn't understand the concept of upgrading your PC at the time. I just thought like, oh, I'll just buy a whole new computer, like
Yeah, just keep doing that.
like instead of the logical thing looking into like, oh, I need a new video card, but
Yeah, of
stupid
course.
me at the time, I'm like, mom, dad, I need to drop another $1,200
Yeah.
because I can't install like Dungeon Siege on my freaking PC. Like it was so
And it would have to
ridiculous.
be like every month because like graphics cards, shit like that, like always upgrades. They upgrade like almost monthly, so you have to like keep buying. Like imagine you took that route, like the old like it's kind of like an old grandpa like getting a laptop for the first time, and then like he uses it, and then the battery dies, but he's calling up his grandson, and he's like, ah, I don't know how to fucking, like I had to return this one and get a new one, and it's like, Grandpa, all you had to do was charge it. Why the fuck are you returning it?
Exactly. It's like, but then, as time went on, then I'm like, oh, okay, this is how you do it. And it's funny because my dad wasn't like a big gamer, but he would always hook us up with games. Like he
That's
would
cool.
come home and be like when the Dreamcast was big, he's like, oh,
Oh
here, I
yeah.
have some Dreamcast games for you. And one of them was super obscure. It was called Blue Stinger. And it was like a survival horror game where you're like on some island. And
Really?
yeah, it was really interesting. I would actually like to revisit it one of these days. But the funniest thing was the voice acting in it. Horrendous voice acting. Like,
I love Beretta's voice acting. It's
but
hilarious.
that's the great thing
Oh,
about
it's
it is
mad.
you
Yeah.
can just like make fun of it. At the time,
Yeah.
you're just amazed because you're like, oh wow, like these Dreamcast graphics are great. But like you
Yeah, they were
look back,
great though.
they really were. Like Soul Calibur was really good. Trying to think, there was a game called Power Stone that looked amazing on it, and yeah, that was when like I was really starting to notice like graphics getting good.
Yes, yes, they were. Dreamcast was the shit. I had a Dreamcast too, but that thing had well for me like had like loads of problems, I think.
It did, yeah. Especially if you had minor scratches on your disc, it would not be able to like read it. And I remember I once
Yeah,
bought
yeah.
this thing called Disc Doctor from Blockbuster. In an attempt to like fix the disc, you would put it in this like thing that you'd wind up, and I guess it would just like wipe the disc with something, and it never fucking worked. It was just a waste of money. But at the
Dude, I
time, I'm
had
like, I thought it would save my game.
yeah, that reminds me of the time I had like a Dreamcast and I bought Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Oh, so
I think it
good.
was either one or two. I think it might have been two,
Yeah,
because I remember the cover being like Tony Hawk like up in the air or something, and you could see the sky.
yeah.
So actually, I'm gonna look that up real quick. But anyways, I had a story about that where like um I had the game, I put it in, and the thing like it would freeze at the beginning, like where that thing made the swirl, and then it's a Dreamcast. It would freeze there every single time, and I'm like, what is going on? And I would just go on my bike, and I would ride like like what was it, like 30 block, like 20 or 30 blocks, which is like, I think it was like 3 or 4 miles or something like that. And I rode it all the way to Toys R Us. I would return it and then tell them like this game is not working. They would give me another one. I would go ride all the way back.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I rode all the way back, put it in the Dreamcast, and it did the same fucking thing again. And I was like, this is awesome, you know?
So you had to go back and do it all over
Oh
again.
my God. And guess what I did? I fucking got the game. I went all the way back again, got my bike, I went all the way back to the Toys R Us again. I did this about maybe 2 or 3 more times. Yeah, I know. It's like weird, but anyways, I did it like 2 or 3 times, and they started to recognize me at that place, where
Oh,
they were
that's
like,
funny.
"Oh, great, it's this fucking kid again." And I kept telling them, I'm like, "This shit's not working," and they'd be like, "Okay, fine." So they took the game that I just bought, and to they went to like a display or whatever that had a Dreamcast on it, like a video game display that you could test the games out.
Yeah.
And they put it in, and the thing worked. And the guy was playing, and he's like, "Look, it works." I'm like, "Shit! Like, what the hell's going on here?" So like, I rode back, and then I don't know. I had to like, I had to go back to my NES roots, I guess, and like, I don't know if you remember, like, we used to have to blow on the cartridge
Oh yeah.
and shit, and then put it in, and then like, you know, just like finagle the game or whatever, like as you put it in the slot or whatever, and you're like pressing it up and down. I don't know, just dumb shit like that. And like, so I went home. I put the game in, and I forgot what I did, but I actually got it to work. Where like I think I would reset. I don't know, but it was kind of a nightmare. Great system, but that system just had friggin' problems, man.
It's funny because we both we both grew up in Jersey, and you're triggering my childhood memories of
Sorry.
bike riding. You know, oh, it's like in a good way. Like because like I remember everything was so accessible in the town that I grew up in, where you could just bike ride to places. Like you didn't have to rely on like anyone to have to drive you. So you had that like luxury, I guess luxury in quotes, of riding your bike so many blocks in an attempt to fix this game, you know, instead of relying on anyone else.
I did get a lot of exercise that day. I know that.
Got like ripped calves because of that day.
Dude, it had to have been from the. I think I bought it the night before. It was like a Saturday. I didn't have school, and what do you call it? Like, I bought the game I think Friday or something with like my like confirmation money or some shit, and yeah, and so I got, yeah, and then the next day, like that whole story I just said before, it took from probably like 8 o'clock in the morning to like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon of just me driving back and forth like an idiot.
Your parents were probably like, okay, you can buy a game with this money, but it has to be a religious game.
Yes, I got some confirmation. Yeah, yeah. My family's kind of religious, which is cool. I like it. But
it's
yeah,
it's gotta be. Did you know?
the Crusader Kings.
You know the game Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
The creator of it used to make religious games before he made that one.
What happened?
I
How did he
know,
get
right?
back to that? That's such like a twist.
The animatronics that he created in his religious games, he basically repurposed and used for Five Nights at Freddy's.
Like I wonder how that works. Like he went from like making like Noah's Ark and Moses and really nice things. You got to heal this person to like you know what? Fuck this. Let's scare the shit out of people. You know?
I think what he should do is combine both. I think he needs to make a really scary religious game as his next game. I think it would be a real
Would you
hit.
do that though? Like, there's no really mythical monsters in my religion at least. Like, Noah the whale, not Noah. What was it? The whale or whatever? I don't know. Like in the Noah's Ark. I don't know.
They just have jump scares like Noah popping up on the screen.
Yeah.
All his animals coming to attack you.
Yeah, like it's Christmas Day and you go look in the manger and like a friggin' like a what do you call those fucking things? Damn it, I had a good one. Not Cupid, but like those cherubs, like a cherub fucking teeth pops out or some shit out of the manger.
Perfect. I think we got ourselves a game here, dude.
Actually, that reminds me, because I went on Steam the other day, and it's funny because there's actually this game. It hasn't been released yet. It's actually on my wish list. It's called, and I kid you not, it's called I Am Jesus Christ. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
It's literally, and I think it's like, and it's not like a comedy type of game at all. I think it's like a serious game.
Oh
Like
wow.
you actually play as Jesus Christ in the first person. And from what and I'm only judging this from the trailers I've seen of it,
Uh-huh.
but yes, I'll base it off that. And basically like it looks like you run around and like you have like a bar, like kind of similar to like a health bar, I guess, in a fighting game, except it's on the left and it's vertical, and it has like his heart on it. Um, like like have you ever seen a like a picture of Jesus and he has that heart with the crown of thorns in the middle of it? It's
Right.
that. Yeah,
Oh,
and it's
okay.
like a bar, and like you use powers to like feed the hungry and like to cure blindness, and you're walking around and like and you could walk on water. It's like the weirdest thing, but it's kind of funny. Like if you do look at it, if you ever check it out.
The second thing I want to do is play the game. The first thing I want to do is check out the Steam reviews when it comes out. Because
Yeah. Oh God.
I can only imagine the buzz it's going to generate in the review section.
Yeah. Yeah, because those comments are actually kind of funny.
Oh, they
Like,
are.
have you ever read the ones that like these games that were made by like one person and it was meant to be like a joke or whatever, and they give like it the best rating or whatever, and they say like best game ever, but like they do it like in a funny way. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Like, people leave funny Steam reviews all the time. I think it's great.
Yeah. I think there was one I was reading the other day. I was just bored because I think I have COVID, but I am on the exiting stages of it. So
That's good.
I'm basically 100%. Yeah. So I was bored the other day and I was looking at reviews and there's this one game called like the yeah, it's called the Button, and
Oh,
you literally just like it's like this game had to be like a kilobyte big, not even.
yeah.
It's basically just a screen where it says you click on it or it says the button and you just click on the button to get a score or whatever, and that's literally it. And the comments on it are actually somewhat funny. Like
I
I'm on it right now, like best 2021 game.
I'm sure
I
you could
might,
fit this game in a floppy disk.
yeah, definitely.
This seems perfect for like the floppy disk era.
You could fit this game on a cassette tape. Yeah.
Perfect. That's exactly how I like to play my games.
On a cassette tape, on an 8-track player, yeah.
There's this running joke that you can run Doom, like the original Doom, on like anything, and people have like run it on like calculators and like the most craziest things. Like I don't know how people
How they
just
do
keep
that.
pushing the envelope with that, but yeah, you could probably run Doom on a cassette tape, I'd imagine.
I mean, it has to have a screen. I mean, that's basically the one of the only requirements I feel like, because I've seen Doom being run on like one of those big ass calculators that I got in high school. I'm not sure if you got them, but it's had like Texas Instruments on them.
Yeah.
I think I've seen. So I mean, I could be wrong, but I think I've seen people play Doom on that,
Oh
which
yeah.
is fucking insane.
people are just amazing with what they could do, like hacking wise and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's nuts.
They
It's
could get
nuts what
Doom to
people can
run
do.
on like a pregnancy test.
Yeah, they probably could. I mean, if it's a really good pregnancy test that has digital display on it and it says like the actual words you're pregnant, it plays like a little GIF with like a baby, you know, jumping around or
With
whatever.
a Doom helmet on and everything.
Yeah, yeah. BFG shooting at all the sperm and all that.
Now there's a Doom mod that would be amazing. And speaking of, I saw that someone made a Doom mod with taking pictures of NFTs. Did you see that?
No, I not really.
Yeah, like
I'm
it's
not
all these
surprised though.
like monkey arts like floating around, and you just see like in first person mode you have a camera and you're just taking pictures of them and scoring points.
It's so silly.
Oh my gosh, I know.
But hey, I mean, people get bored or whatever, or they push their, you know, they try to push their limits to see what they could do with these games. I mean, I think that's kind of cool, honestly.
That and people really like jumping on trends, and I feel like NFTs are a huge trend now. Like I
Yeah,
couldn't
how is
even
that even a? Yeah,
I couldn't even explain it to you. Like, but it's just like funny how NFTs are getting wrapped up in gaming now. Like, video game companies are trying to push for NFTs, and it's been getting like a lot of backlash.
that I didn't know. But I actually did have my sister explain to me what an NFT was, because I was like, yeah, well, what are these things I keep hearing about? And she explained it to me, and I think this is the best way I could. But it's kind of like, they make a picture of like a little cartoon thing, like a monkey, we'll say, because you said that before. And it's basically like you have the original picture of that, the original file of it. And even if it gets shared or copied a million times, you still have that original file, and that's what makes it like valuable or whatever, is that you have the original, you know?
Yeah, and I've been noticing like a lot of people have been just making a killing with these things. Like even like Dead Mouse, he's been like making millions off of like NFTs of like his cat.
Oh yeah, well he is a big name in EDM, so that's got to be part of the reason why he's making millions off of it, right? Because it's like Dead Mouse made it, so
That's why I
that's got
feel
to
like
be
you
it.
need a following in order to sell NFTs. I mean, I could be wrong.
Absolutely.
I'm no like NFT expert, but I feel like that will make the process a whole lot easier of like
Oh,
making
no, you're
money, you
absolutely
know?
right. Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right about that. Because like if you have a big following, people are going to follow you. Like if you have 5 million subscribe or followers or whatever on Instagram and you release something on that, they're all going to see that. So they're all going to go, "Oh, if he's showing this, it must be worth something because, he's got such a following and he has his own legacy of music or art or whatever." So, for years, and he's a big name, he's recognizable. So yeah, of course, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's just interesting to see what a lot of video game companies are going to do with NFTs if they are still going to push for them, like because the idea is they want players to play like NFT games where you can actually earn whatever the coin or value is as you play it. But a lot of gamers just see that as like, whoa, like this is stupid, you know. But
Yep, NFTs, man. I mean that. I don't think that that's going to replace what is that called, crypto, right? Like it's not going to replace that. I just think it'll be like its own thing.
oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Is to switch gears.
Huh.
Do you
Sorry.
have any? Oh no, that's fine. Do you have any games that you feel are valuable, even if they are like open, that you've like held on to?
That I've held on to, like me personally, or just like in general.
Like you personally like have either like someone's given you one from like years ago and
Oh,
you've
I
just
see.
never traded it in or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I would say that I never had anything like like that. Like no one ever really get well. people have gifted me games obviously before, especially when I was younger. But no, I never really held on to them or anything like that. I used to either just sell them or basically lose them in my old house that I used to live in, I guess, you know.
Yeah,
I guess the next family moving in or person or whatever will claim it, you know.
they're like, oh shit, it's a copy of Duck Hunt and Mario Brothers. Yeah,
An ET or some shit. I heard that game's worth a lot, even though it was like the worst game of all time or whatever. You know
yeah.
the game ET from like what was it, like on Atari or something?
They talked about that on the High Score documentary, right?
Yeah, they
On
did. Cause
Netflix.
yeah, I think it had something to do because the reason why that game was so bad because it was rushed. Because they told them they told the guy that they needed the game in like in like 3 months or something crazy like that. And I could be wrong because I haven't seen the show in a while. But yeah, I think the reason was because it was really rushed.
Yeah. Imagine being asked to make a game like that in such a little amount of time during a time where it was not easy to make games.
It was not. No, nothing was easy back then. You know, it always gets easier as we get older.
Right.
Kinda. I'm saying like as time goes, not exactly like us aging. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. I mean, cuz look at it now. Like now anybody can make a game. You could download like Unreal Engine or Unity, like these softwares,
Unity, yeah, that's
and
the big
just
one.
put together some sort of a game, and it's crazy how accessible all these things are.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts what they can do like now. Like, and it's funny because they could use those engines like Unity and Unreal, and they could make like a decent like first person shooter or like something like that. You know, it's
Or
nuts.
remastering games. Like there's people who've taken Mario 64 and like a lot of these old N64 games and have revamped them in like the Unreal Engine, and it just looks insane. Like it looks better than if Nintendo tried to do a remaster. Like I mean, they literally did that recently with the Mario All Stars pack. It had Mario 64, Mario Sunshine, and Mario Galaxy, and a lot of people complained that it wasn't good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard when like I don't know. That's like kind of weird. Like when like the company itself that actually made the original game and made the classic itself can't remaster and make it, you know, good also, you know?
You'd think they would be
It's nuts.
best at it. Like
I
they
know,
put
because they're
out like a
there, you know?
beautiful, polished, like HD remaking of the game, but instead they just I think they're just mainly focused on the money because they
Yeah, of
know
course.
everybody is just gonna buy the game purely out of nostalgia and not
Fucking
really.
cash grab.
But if they don't, it's funny. You'd think that they would like think to themselves like, "Oh, someone's gonna catch on to the details," and people always do. You know, like
Yeah.
in the first episode of my podcast, like we were talking about the Grand Theft Auto remaster, how terrible that was. You know, and you'd think that Rockstar would have put more work into those games because those games are what made them Rockstar. You know,
No, it's what made them, exactly. But you know what it could be? Like I was thinking just now about that is that now like I'm not gonna take sides on like the on EA or any of those other big time companies that kind of care more about money than they do their customers.
right?
But like, but like those developers though, like they have like I think what sets them back and into making like a game that's not that good, but had all this crazy hype, is because they have like deadlines, you know,
Yeah,
and they have a job, and also it's their job. So like even though like I'm sure they love what they do, it's still a job in the end, and they're working like overnights and you know crazy amounts of time that they're putting into this, and I think that that's what kind of does it. Like well, not does it like fully, but I think that like that plays a part in why the games that they make are, you know, not hyped up to be, you know?
That's a good point. I like honestly, I would like to make a video one day about like they call it in the video game industry crunch. And crunch is so common now for these complex games, these big AAA games that are coming out because they want them to be good. Of course, any video game studio wants their games to be good, but like there's like a standard of quality. You know what I mean? Like that's why it took Rockstar so many years to make Red Dead Redemption 2. They wanted it to be like
Perfect.
fantastic. Yeah, like perfect. So they would have their workers like work insane hours per week to the point where like their wives were like, ready to start an uprising with their bosses, you know.
Yeah. Have an angry mob outside with torches and everything. We want
Yeah.
our husbands back.
Exactly.
Or wives, whatever, you know.
Yeah, like it's just it's sad to see because I'm sure a lot of those people that work on these games like they love their job, but not to that extent where it's like, hard labor every freaking week to meet deadlines.
Yeah, I mean it's like that saying, like, you know, like too much of something is bad, whether it's like a good thing or a bad thing. Too much of it is, you know, can be straining on you, you know?
And
Health, mental, whatever, physically, you know?
I'm sure they want to work on other things too. Like I'm sure they have even passion projects, like stuff they would want to do on their like in their spare time,
Yeah, of course.
you know.
And then when they're working 5 years, let's say on a game, it's, you know, they're like, all right, you know, they might get that feeling like I kind of want to do something else. You know, I want to make a different game, or I want to go on vacation. You know, I want to do something else than doing this for 5 years straight. You know?
They don't want to be designing like 100 tumbleweeds for Red Dead Redemption. Like they want to do something a little more fulfilling to their career.
Yeah, of course. You know, they want to move on. You know?
It's funny, years ago I went through a phase where I wanted to be a video game designer. And at the time I had such a false sense of what it was. I thought like, oh, making video games is gonna be so much fun. You
It's
know?
gonna take like an hour, and
Yeah.
that's it. You
You
know?
click
Yeah,
up you
it'll
click
be
a
fun.
button, and then the game is just made. It's like magic.
And it's mine, and it looks great. And man, I want to make 1 million games a year. You know?
Oh, perfect. Yeah, you could be a bigger studio than Rockstar, just pumping out games. Like I thought it was that easy, and then I got older, and I'm like, oh, you need to know coding. Oh, you need to be an artist. Like, it's a
Reality.
yeah, it's a team effort. It's like making a movie. You have so many people doing so many different things to bring an idea to life.
I know. It's just any project you put into, it's always gonna, you know, it's always a lot of work, you know.
Yeah.
Anything, obviously.
It makes me wonder what goes through the minds of people that make video game movies. Because it seems like they make those in a day.
Oh
Like,
yeah, I know. Well, yeah, because we're on the other end of it, you know. So we get the release date and the movie itself when it comes out. So you know, so it's a different, what the hell the word is, what the hell's the word I'm trying to look for here? But it's a
like
uh
perspective.
different position perspective. Yeah, you know, like we're on that end, they're on that end. You know.
I got a question for you. What was the last video game movie you saw?
Okay. The last video game movie I saw.
And
Oh,
what'd you think of it?
oh, you. I think you already know this. Mortal Kombat. That had to have been the
Oh,
last one I saw.
so I knew it, but I didn't know it because when I asked you the question, I was thinking in my head he's gonna say Assassin's Creed, but then
Oh,
I totally forgot about Mortal Kombat.
Assassin's Creed. I like that movie. I haven't seen that movie in like maybe 3 or 4 years or something like that since it came out. It was
Yeah,
like pre-COVID, so it was a long time ago.
yeah, that one did come out some time ago. And of course, to be clear, we are talking about the latest Mortal Kombat movie,
Yes,
not Annihilation and not the one from the '90s.
I
Um,
did like the movie from that, not Annihilation, but I did like the original movie.
yes, people seem to have a sort of "it's so bad it's good" feeling about the
Yeah,
original. Um, there's definitely certain moments where you're like, oh man, like it's
fuck
cheesy
those people. It was
dialogue and
good.
stuff, but
Fuck them. It was good.
there's definitely iconic moments from that movie
Yeah, of
that I
course.
still love. Like Liu Kang versus Reptile is like my favorite fight.
That was sick. I love that fight. Like the
Cue
he
in
like
the
entering
techno music
bicycle
and
kick. Yeah.
oh, so good. I love it.
That was great. I loved it. And I liked how they implemented that. Like he was kind of like a creature at first, then he went into that statue, and then he came out of it as like a ninja, like his original form from the games, because he was one of the colored ninjas, if that's the right terminology for that. The Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile.
Exactly. Yes. And it's funny because that scene, Johnny Cage is like wondering, like, dude, what the hell are you doing? And Liu Kang just like grabs Reptile out of nowhere because he was cloaked, which was a great nod to his video game ability because he was able to
Of
go
course.
invisible. So that was a nice touch. And
That was a great touch to that.
the choreography of the fighting was freaking awesome.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. That's why I think it was great though. Like that movie was good, even though yeah, like a lot of people say like, oh, it was one of those movies kind of like The Room with Tommy Wiseau, where it was bad. It was meant to be good, but it was bad, but it was good.
Yeah. Now all we need is a The Room and Mortal Kombat mashup.
Yeah,
Now
that
that
would
would be
be
something. You have Tommy Wiseau as one of the ninjas.
like get over here, Mark, or like before each fight, like, oh hi, Scorpion, and they all say it, like in the movie. That movie was just great.
Oh my gosh, too good. But I actually liked the original Mortal Kombat more than the new one. The
The
new
original.
one, I was not like the '90s Mortal Kombat movie versus the new one that came out on HBO Max.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I could see why you feel that way, but I did like the newer one too. I did. I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was good, even though there were some things in it, with every movie that you're gonna have like a problem with. But I
Yeah,
thought overall, I would give it maybe like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Maybe a 7, like a 7 out of 10, which
that's
is
fair.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say that's a fair rating. I mean, I'm a harsh critic when it comes to movies.
Hmm.
So, I'm probably the wrong person to talk about this movie with, uh, but I did like a lot of the Easter eggs in the movie, and there were a lot of good references. Like there
New one.
in the new one, yeah, there was
Okay.
one where they had a Sub Zero move. Like they had like the down arrow, left arrow, and the button in on like a wall behind a couple of the fighters in one scene.
Is that his slide?
I that's a good question because I want to go back and revisit that scene now to see what move it was. I don't know if it was the freeze move or if it was his slide,
Well,
but
you said back, right?
oh, I was
Back.
just like kind of like guessing,
Oh, okay,
but
okay,
but
okay.
I know
Yeah,
that
I have no idea then.
it was a nod to one of the moves, which was a nice touch. But
Yeah, I love seeing that shit, like little Easter eggs that like you notice, because what do you call it? Like when they put them in games or in movies and stuff, and you do notice it, or like you catch it on your own without looking at a tutorial or whatever
yeah,
on YouTube, like, and you see it yourself. That's like a feel good kind of moment, like a temporary feel good type of thing that
the
happens.
the games had a lot. The Mortal Kombat games had a lot of good Easter eggs and secrets, like the ability to play up like against Reptile in the first one.
Just gonna say that.
Yeah. Uh, did you know about that? Like back when you were first playing it?
No, I did not know about that back then. I think I only knew like very, more recently, like
Yeah.
maybe even about like a year or two ago when I think you told me. I think I remember you telling me like, oh, I don't know if you knew, but Reptiles in the first one, and yeah, we had a conversation about that. I believe.
I
I think it
we
was you.
we probably did because I'm so crazy about like secrets in games and stuff like that. So, um, and what you had to do to get to that moment is so tough that I can only like it must have been so crazy to discover that. Like somebody literally like discovered that by mistake because there's no way somebody like knew about it to do it unless you made the game.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
So, like you had to make sure like the if you're on like what's the stage where you're up high and there's like the moon in the background. If you're on that stage, you have to hope like Santa crosses the moon and you get like two
I know exactly
flawless
what you're talking
victories.
about.
Yeah, yeah. But it's so crazy. Like I love how video game developers put that kind of stuff in games and they'll find out years later that somebody finally discovered it.
I think one of the fatalities from that level is I think you do an uppercut and the guy falls all the way down into spikes.
Yep, that's a
It's
classic one.
that one, right?
Yep, that's
Yeah,
so
there
good.
you go.
And I think the first movie did a nod to that with spoilers, everyone, but I think you've had ample time to watch it. But when Liu
Yeah,
Kang
fuck them. I'm
kills
just kidding. I'm joking.
when Liu Kang kills Shang Tsung at the end, he falls down onto spikes. Um,
Oh
not
yeah, yeah, yeah.
not the same stage, of course, but
Yeah,
a
the
nice
original, yeah.
a nice nod there to the games.
Yeah, I like when they do shit like that. That's cool.
Oh yeah.
And I also liked when they did a nod to Scorp. Well, even though they kind of did him dirty in the original movie, they made him like a fucking zombie in that movie that just took orders from Shang Tsung and that was it. You know, and just fight this guy and that was it. No story, nothing. But I did like where they showed like his fatality on John, even though Johnny Cage blocked it on in that movie. That was
That was really
I did
cool with
like
the
that.
fire.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that was cool.
That whole scene was great. That was like my other favorite fight when they're in the woods.
Yeah.
And
And it's funny because like the voice acting from Sub Zero and Scorpion and that I'm not sure Sub Zero, but Scorpion, the voice acting in that was just terrible. I thought like his cheekbones didn't even move under the mask when he spoke, like saying "Get over here" or "Welcome." You know when they brought him to the Nether Realm
I'm
when they were
pretty
fighting
sure that
on the
was
scaffoldings.
I'm pretty sure that was the creator Ed Boon that voiced uh, Scorpion in the movie.
Really, I thought it was like the original guy from the games because it sounded like him.
Because Ed Boon voiced Scorpion in the games, at least in the early games.
So he did okay. So he
Yeah,
did voice. All
so
right.
it would make sense to have him
Yeah.
in the movie. I love the clip. Someone got a clip of him from like Comic Con or one of these conventions of him doing the voice, and he could still do it so well. Like
Nice.
with like no effects applied to it. Like it's
Well, he's
just
got to be
sounds so
older,
cool.
like way older now, so he's not like get over here like that, right?
He's definitely not like that old, but
Yeah.
I'd say he's up there in age. I think he still has it in him to do it, but
Yeah.
that would be funny to hear him do it like all super old. Oh my
Yeah, like
gosh.
in a hospice somewhere, just saying like, "Get over here!" It's like, Dad, you're dying. Stop quoting Scorpion,
He
please.
thinks he's still in the game.
Yeah, poor guy.
Oh my
Yeah, he doesn't
gosh.
look that old. I mean, he has eyebrows for days, that motherfucker, but he looks good.
He's got 40 lashes.
40. He's got 1,000 lashes. He's
Thousands.
57. I'm actually looking it up now. He's
Oh,
57 years old.
well, there you
So
have
yeah,
it.
he's not that old.
There you have it, people. Oh man, that would be such a great guest for sure. Is to have Ed Boon and just to
I
ask him what was your inspiration for making one of like the first violent games? Because like I don't know if you ever saw like the news, like the media interviews. Like they had him and the co-creator on, and they would ask him like the worst and most inane questions. So like, you do realize like this is bad for kids and stuff like that, and
Of
like
course, yeah.
so
Of course
dumb.
they're gonna get like that. It is dumb. It's like, bro, you're making like most of us turned out okay enjoying these games and these movies and stuff. Like, shut the fuck up.
Right.
Let him live his life. Let him entertain us. Nobody's going out there throwing spears at kids like and nuns and freezing buses filled with AIDS patients. Like, calm the fuck down.
You've created quite the picture for sure.
Like,
Oh,
come on, bro. Like, I'm not surgically attaching arms to my body and acting like Goro and running around, the mall and shit.
yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty evident that there's little to no scientific backing that games have any sort of like heavy influence on people. You
No,
know?
no, they
Yeah,
don't. That's the escape.
right.
The games and the movies are the escape
It's like
from real life
people
problems.
who like for instance, one of my favorite bands is Slipknot, and when I used to
Mine too, man.
there you go, when I used to listen to them, back in the day, my uncle would be like, "Oh, this is like the devil's music. Like, why do you listen to
Yeah,
this?"
of course
And
it
he
is.
would like take their lyrics so seriously. But it's like if you look at those dudes and you see some of their interviews, they're just as normal as anybody else. They have families, like
Of course.
they live like pretty normal lives, and it's just art. It's all art. Those lyrics, the creating of those songs, all that stuff,
It's
and
expression.
video games are too. So it's like
Yeah.
you can't take these things out of the intention that they were originally like made for, you know.
But that's
But
what they're gonna do. Like, the parents don't know better because maybe they didn't have those things when they were younger, so they don't understand it. So that I could understand how they feel. But like the media, the government or whatever, like they do research. They're smart. They know what goes on in this world. So for them to like just take the parents' side on it and not and instead of educating them, they put this propaganda bullshit out saying like, "Oh, look, like you know, you're driving around a car at GTA. Your kid's gonna steal your car and drive into town and start running over old ladies." Like,
right.
like that's the kind of I mean, obviously they're not gonna word it that way and put it out that way, but they're gonna subliminally put it out and say, this is just bad. Stop your kids from doing this or whatever.
I mean, for years the media has been trying to like blame like any sort of media, on
Of course.
major events like Columbine. They tried to blame Doom,
Video games.
Ramstein, like because
Yeah.
they said, oh, they
Marilyn
listen to
Manson, yeah.
Ramstein, Marilyn Manson, so they have to, these are the root causes of what they did, and I don't know, it's all crazy.
It's crazy. It's dumb.
Yeah.
I could get into this for hours about this shit, and
Right.
you know that. Like,
Oh my gosh, for sure. Guys.
just because you listen to Slipknot doesn't mean you're gonna push your fingers into your fucking eyes. If
Right.
anyone gets that reference.
Exactly. But yeah, it's things like this that people just take a little too seriously, and but this is always going to be the case because games are
Just gonna say that it's never gonna stop.
it's never going to stop because video games are always going to be pushing the envelope too. Ever since the violent games started, like Mortal Kombat and GTA and like all the major ones, there's gonna be controversial games coming out, but
Nice.
they will always put out a warning. They have the rating systems out there and all that to let you know that this is what
Yeah,
you're gonna get into.
yeah, and I'm okay with the rating systems. I get that. Like, that's fine.
Right.
Just to let the parents know, like, this is what your kids are gonna be playing. So, are you sure you want to buy this for them? Like that I get. That's fine.
I mean,
But
it
to
can
take them
be
away,
bypassed like pretty easily. because of course you could just send, like, if you're a teenager or something, you just send your mom or your dad to buy the game for you. I mean, I referenced this in the first episode. My mom bought me Conker's Bad Fur Day, and I was playing that game, and it had nudity and guns and movie references and
Yeah,
everything. So it's like,
yeah,
there's no way around that. Kids are gonna get their hands on these things, especially
of
now
course.
with how accessible
Digital.
everything is. Yeah, everything's digital now, so you could police it all you want, but
Yeah, I know. It's just. I mean, it is what it is. Kids are always gonna find their way to play their games, to watch their videos, watch porn, whatever. They're always gonna
right.
find a way. You know, the only thing you could do is, and it won't even work, is to shut off their internet, take their game thing away, or whatever it is, because they'll just go over their friend's house and do it. Or they'll find a way to do it.
Oh yeah, like in the video that I did about the kid who played Halo, like he was obsessed with Halo, and
Mm-hmm.
he shot his parents. He
What?
Yeah, he shot his parents. His father,
With that
um,
purple gun with the spikes?
with the needler.
That's what it's called, the needler.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, he used like the plasma pistol.
Good.
No.
I mean, that's impressive if he found that fucking thing and used it.
Oh man, he'd have to like get it from Area 51. But anyways, yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
his
Yeah.
dad had like his own gun stashed away in like a, I think he had it in a safe, I want to say. But somehow or another, his son got a hold of it and, you know, shot his parents. So the point I'm trying to make is, his father tried to keep him from playing Halo. Like, he would take away the system, take away the game, but he still would like go over his friend's house to play it for hours. So there was like no
Yeah, that's
way of
great.
policing it, you know.
Yeah.
So
But also, like, I don't really blame the game on the kid doing that. The kid obviously had issues, and his parents were probably shitty parents.
right.
I mean, I obviously don't know the story because you're telling it to me for the first time, but if I were to take a guess, it would be that. It has to be. Because no kid without any sort of um what the hell's, oh my god, like traumatizing life, like no kid without that would, go and just kill their fucking parents.
Right. Yeah.
Like, there's so much more to it.
If you do want to look into the story, his name is Daniel Petrick. Um,
Whoa, hold on a second.
yeah, if you do want to check it out,
I think you mean Petrich.
could I don't want to rush to the assumption that he is Slavic with that name, but
Here we go. Now you're picking on Slavs now. What the fuck?
you're like, that's it. I'm done. Show's over.
Oh my god.
Oh
Daniel,
gosh.
his name is Daniel Petrich, and
But
he's
I
a,
didn't see like
yeah.
an accent on his last name, so I didn't want to rush to the assumption. So
Listen, you're my friend. It's totally fine. But I'm gonna say you butchered the fuck out of his last name.
so I pronounced it the way the media pronounced it, just
Oh,
out
it's
of
all good.
just
Yeah.
to be on the safe side and didn't want to like rush to any assumptions. But yeah, I'm sure I probably botched it for sure.
It's totally cool.
Yeah,
It's fine. Yeah, but he's definitely Slavic from, and probably Croatian, because Petric is a very Croatian name,
there
or
you go.
Serbian, but most likely Croatian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he is Croatian because he's from Wellington, Ohio. I think they have a good good population of Croats there,
Oh,
along with my boy Stipe Miocic, who is you know who that is? That's a heavyweight
of course.
in the UFC.
Big
My
UFC
cousin.
fighter.
Yeah, he's not my cousin.
Yeah. My cousin. Oh
That's what
man.
we do, Croatians. We all call each other cousins.
That's true, right?
Somewhat, yeah.
All right.
It's a
So
thing.
I want to end on one last question.
Oh, wait, is it that time? Oh
It's
shit,
I
yeah.
know, man. It's the time. The time has been flying with these podcasts, and I've been having so much fun. I want to end with, what is your best video game memory?
Wow. I don't know. I mean, right now I just thought of one. It's not like I don't know if it's my best or not because I had a lot, but I guess I could say you know how I'm into strategy games, right? Like
Yeah,
Total War, Age of Empires, whatever. There was this one time where and I was just thinking because I do kind of suck at games, even though I love playing them, I fucking suck at them. But there was this one time where I was playing Total War. What was it? Was it medieval? I don't know. It was one of those games, but I remember playing that online against somebody, and I had my troops on one side, he had his troops on one side, and I think I remember going into the attack with it, and it's a really complex game where you have to control like a lot of sets of units,
yeah,
and they're all grouped together, so and the battlefield is friggin' huge, so you have to like pan the camera across the map like fast to get on that side of the battle, and it's almost like a real life battle, like that took place on like miles of land, just like in real life, from back then. And like I remember playing, I was attacking this guy, and he was like winning the battle, and I was like retreating my guys, and I was like, man, this kind of sucks. Yeah, I mean it's only a game, but whatever. Like I'll still try. Usually, like I would quit at that time and just be like, GG, I'll resign.
yeah.
But I thought, fuck it, let's do it. So he was attacking me, and I was retreating, and he did something where he kind of made a mistake where he sent in like his reserves too, like the guys in the back, and he sent them in to like finish me off. And he did that, and I remember, dude, I don't know how the fuck this even happened, and and I could even tell that this guy was really fucking good at the game too. But anyways, I did like this sort of like this pincer movement with like units where like it looks like a where you trap the enemy in the middle of units that are like your units that are surrounding him, and it
Mm,
kind of looks like a crab claw, you know,
right.
if you look at it from like a bird's eye view, if you're looking at the battle. And they basically like I did that on him, and I ended up killing like most of his units doing that, and mine ended up mostly surviving, which was crazy. And I remember even like being the guy's friend for like a little bit afterwards.
Oh
Cause
wow.
yeah, and
He
I remember
respected your
winning that
play that
battle.
much.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I fucking did something crazy like that. I was like, fuck it, let me try this, and it worked because he was heavily winning. He had way more units.
Yeah.
And I defeated him in that, and he was like, holy shit, well done, you know. And so I was like, damn, like and then me and him started playing like a few games together after that, 2v2s and all that. But then, as it happens, we drifted apart. But yeah, it was cool.
Maybe one of
I
these
guess that was
days.
one I could think of. I suck at storytelling, sorry.
No, no, dude, you're fine. I'm thinking one of these days you might reconnect with him. You might happen to be on Total War, and
Doubt
then
it.
and then he's gonna whip out that same strategy, the crab claw on you, and it's all gonna be over. He's gonna get his
Yeah, he's gonna
redemption.
reverse it. He's gonna get a yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he's gonna
gosh.
do the reverse on me, the reverse Uno card, and hit me with that.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Alrighty, man. I
that's all I
had
can remember though.
so much fun. That was an awesome video game memory. Great, great freaking guest, dude. Thank you so much for your time. And
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
we're definitely going to have you back on, man. And in case I have to ask this, because I know there's not going to be a lot of people tuning in, but some people will. Do you have
It
anything?
will, man.
Do you
It'll
have
come.
anything to promote? Any sort of social media that you would want people to find you on?
It's yeah, I have it right here. Just it's at JAYMO, the letter O, and then 984.
Alrighty.
You slap that on there at JMO 984.
Perfect. Sounds good, man. Well, thank you again, and we will
Thank you,
talk
man.
soon, my
Thanks for
friend.
having me.